Henny Demore over here at HTM Sports. How is everybody doing this evening? So this edition is going to be called Overtime. You know, I'm putting in that extra work after work to bring y'all this Cowboys content. So with that said, like, subscribe so we can grow the channel. You know, I'm up here trying to push to get to the 1,000 subscriber mark so we can get things monetized. You know, I can improve on the show, add a little bit more razzle dazzle to it or whatnot. So so like, subscribe, share the content. Anything that you do, be much appreciated. So, tonight we're going to talk about handling business. For a long time, we've been talking about who the Dallas Cowboys are going to play in the playoffs. We talked about the scenarios of if we play the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, if we end up playing Green Bay, we end up playing Detroit, Seattle, this or that, winning the division, yada, yada. But, none of that actually matters if we do not go out here and handle business against the Washington Commanders. So, I get it. They're a team we already mollywopped earlier in the season. They're an inferior team. They're a team that has nothing left to play for. They're out of the playoffs. They're going to be starting a rookie quarterback. I get all that. But we also have seen this team play down to the competition. We've seen this team go out against the Tennessee Titans with a team full of backups and not perform up to their brand of football. They did not play a good game. They did not play a game that instilled confidence, in this team going forward. So, like the Jacksonville Jaguar game, it's a game that we led most of the time. And, we still found a way to lose that game. So, my talking point tonight is going to be mainly what to do against the Washington Commanders to win this game. I'm going to treat this just like any other team. We got the numbers. We're going to go through the numbers, see the best way to attack this team, what to expect out of this offense, what to expect, from their defense, things along those lines. So, I'll wait till a couple more people file in here, then we'll get started. Hey, Jazzy Jeff, I appreciate you for tapping in with me, man. What you got going, brother? Yeah. Appreciate you for taking time out today to come on and watch the show. So, hey, like, share, subscribe. We're gonna get it in tonight. So to start off, man, we're gonna talk about the Commanders and their offense. And this is pretty much a season worth of information on them at this point. There's nothing that they're going to do that's going to catch anybody by surprise. They are who they are at this point in the season. All right, we've all played 16 games. We know who they are. So the Commanders, through 16 games, are the 25th ranked scoring offense. They only are averaging 18.1 points per game. That is putrid. That is horrible. It's one of the reasons why they haven't been winning a lot of games. They haven't been able to manufacture enough offense, to hang with some of these better teams. We seen early on that they had a pretty decent defense, but their offense is really what's been letting them down. And they got a couple of decent players. They have a guy like Terry McLaurin who has established himself as one of the premier receivers in football. When you think about the NFC East, you generally think about CeeDee Lamb as being a guy that has elevated. You think about A.J. Brown and the season he's been having. But, quietly, McLaurin is that next guy up. Like, he is a very good receiver. He is a guy that has multiple 1,100-yard seasons. So, he's a dynamic receiver. Now, I know the last couple of times that we played McLaurin, Trayvon Diggs has held him in check. But he is still a very dynamic receiver. And, with the injuries we have in the secondary, I can see them moving him around, maybe trying to get him matched up with Nahshon Wright if we don't, let our corners travel. So, I can see him being a mismatch trouble for a guy like Nahshon Wright. And then when you really look at what they do the best, out of their run game and pass game, they are a much better rushing attack than they are a passing attack. They're the 14th ranked rushing offense in football and only the 21st ranked passing offense. And when I use these rankings, we're actually looking at total yardage. This has no bearing on yards per game or anything like that. This is cumulative. So for the year, and that's probably the best way to do it because it's already been a 16 game season up to this point. So for the season, they're a middle of the pack rushing offense. So like that's what we can pretty much expect for them to do is to run the ball. And they had a lot of success running the ball against us earlier in the last matchup that we played against the Commanders. Now we end up winning that game, but we did not stop their rushing attack. We benefited from the turnovers, we benefited from the bad penalties that they had that game. But we did not successfully stop their running attack when we initially played them. So that's going to be something to look at. Now, I don't know which running backs we'll be seeing. They have a ton of people on the injury report. I have no idea who's going to be healthy enough to play. Brian Robinson, he has been playing pretty decent as of late. I don't know if he'll be able to go. So, we just have to look at that. But whoever they do bring out there, I expect them to get a decent amount of carries, especially with a rookie quarterback playing. So let's segue into that, and that's how I know they're going to run the ball because you got to think about it. They already had success against us the first time we played, and then they're going to run out a 5th round rookie against us. So like the best thing to do if they actually won't have any chance to win this game is to run the ball, set up the play action. Sam Howell himself is a mobile quarterback, so that's one aspect of his game to watch for. He's not a burner. He's not a Lamar Jackson. He's not none of these other guys, but he is a guy that ran for 11 rushing touchdowns last year in college. He's a guy that can move the pocket. He's a guy that can operate outside of the pocket. I ain't gonna say like Dak Prescott. I think Dak Prescott is at a different level when it comes to like moving outside of the pocket. But like Sam Howell can do similar things. Anything about us, these mobile quarterbacks are the ones that give us the issues. When you look at guys that can run, even in our history, Jalen Hurts, when we did play him, he gave us issues. Not necessarily as a passer, but his ability to run for timely first downs and to extend plays and things like that are the things that come to mind. When RG3 was in the division, we had issues with his mobility. Even this year, like we have issues with mobile quarterbacks because the boy in Chicago ran all over us. These are games we won, but we never really stopped these mobile quarterbacks. We haven't had a lot of success stopping the run. So this will be a good test. This will be a good get right game going into the playoffs. Because you want to play a team that challenges you. And I think just from the standpoint of them being able to run the ball, them having a mobile quarterback out there, this is a game that the defense have to take seriously, if anything, in their preparation. Maybe we can try to use this game to elevate us because we want to get to where we're going. We do expect to play the Eagles again. They have a running quarterback. They have a run-heavy offense. It's not to the, they're a much better caliber team than Washington. But, they are a similar team in the dynamic of what they want to do from an offensive standpoint. So, this will be a good game to gauge ourselves on if we're ready to stop the run, if we're ready to stop these mobile quarterbacks. So let's see. So we touched on the offense a little bit, just from the basic numbers. Their defense. And, this is what I will say about their defense. Even bad teams have good things that they do very well. And in the case of Washington, they are actually a good defense, man. They're a defense that probably gets exposed, by being on the field way too often. But they are a very good defense. They have guys on there that can get to the quarterback, that can stop the run. They got Payne. They recently got their first round pick back from injury. What's the boy name? When I get to tapping on this computer, I'm looking up something. Chase. Yeah, they recently got Chase back to help rush the passer. They got some guys on defense that can really play football. Let's see. Hey, Iron Man, what's up with you, man? I appreciate you for tapping in with me. Yeah, thank you, Jazzy. Yeah, Chase. So yeah, they got some good players along the defensive line, especially. They spent a lot of draft capital building up their defensive line. They got I like their linebackers. I like Jamin Davis. I like the defensive core that they have, but they're on the field way too often. They have an offense that leaves them hanging out to dry. They score, they don't score enough points to supplement what the defense is doing. But when you look at the defense, they're only allowing 21 points per game. They're the fifth best passing defense in all of football. Like, if you are going to beat the Redskins, you need to run the ball against them. I call them Redskins. My apologies. The Condoms, the Washington Condoms, whatever they are. So yeah, you want to beat this team. They are the 14th ranked run defense. So that is what you need to do. I always believe in doing smart, simple football tactics. If a team is fifth best against the pass, but they're only 14th best against the run, it tells you that you need to run the damn ball against this team. Like, you never attack a team's strengths. You always wanted to go and take advantage of a team's weakness. Like when New England was taking advantage of teams when they still had Tom Brady, during the glory days. Like, if a team was weak against the run, that's the game that Bill Belichick is going to make his offensive coordinator call 40 run plays. I'm saying? You expect Tom Brady to come out of slinging it, but they will attack. They will attack those things. So a good football team will take advantage of the areas where teams are weak at. Because there's no such thing as a perfect team. Every single team in the NFL has something that it does not do that great. Just like us, we're a great offensive team. But we have a bunch of turnovers though. We're a great defensive team, but we have a lot of issues to get the run. But that's fine. There's no such thing as a perfect team. Everybody has a chink in their armor. But if you are a team that wants to go where you want to go, you will exploit the weaknesses that these other teams have put on film. And this is going to be the 17th game of the year, the 16th game of footage. There's no excuse to not be going in here trying to exploit their obvious weakness. So yes, so what we should do against this team, and you remember, we're going to operate just like this is a team that still has something to play for. I understand that they're injured. I understand they're going to put a rookie out there. I understand we're a better team even when they're healthy. But we have seen way too many times where the Dallas Cowboys have went out against lesser teams and underperformed. Either they're looking past the team, or they're not up for the game. They're not prepared. We need to see week 18, going to the playoffs, a focused Dallas Cowboys team going out here and executing, exploiting obvious mismatches and obvious weaknesses of the opponents. Yeah, it's a rookie with no film, but I'm gonna say this about the boy. Like, he has athleticism, he has talent, but I don't think any rookie, their first game, wants to go out and play Micah Parsons. I don't think any rookie, their first game, wants to go out and play DeMarcus Lawrence. I don't think any rookie wants to go up against one of the best defenses in football their first game out on short notice, because they didn't decide he was going to be the starter until yesterday, I believe. There was still another quarterback that was going to take first team reps. So I can only imagine the level of preparation that he has right now is going to be unbecoming. He's not going to be ready for this game, I don't believe. But like you said, there's not going to be a lot of tape on him, so he has never taken an NFL snap before. But he has started. I think he started 3 years in college. For a young quarterback, usually what a good offensive coordinator would do is implement some of the things that they did well in college to get them going. And on a short week, well, not necessarily on a short week, but on short prep time, I believe those are some of the things they will lean into. I think they'll move the pocket. I think they'll let him keep the ball a couple of times. I think they'll let him. Oh, he definitely will run on us. Definitely. Will he run? Yes. Matter of fact, I'm glad you tapped in, West Coast. West Coast, I appreciate you tapping in with me, big dog. So let me see. I'll pull up the numbers for you. I always tell these folks on my show, when I get to tapping on this keyboard over here, man, I'm just doing a little bit of research, pulling up some stats. All right. So this is the pedigree of the one Sam Howell we're going to be playing. He started at North Carolina from 2019 to 2021. So he has 3 years under his belt as a starter in college. He was named the ACC Rookie of the Year in 2019. He's the second team All ACC in 2020, and he was third team All ACC in 2019. And during their bowl game win in 2019, he was the MVP. He was the MVP of the Military Bowl. Now, statistically, he had his best year as a rusher last year. He ran the ball 183 times for 828 yards, averaged 4.5 yards a carry, and he scored 11 rushing touchdowns. So the dude is an athlete. I also want to bring this up. He also has 2 receiving touchdowns in his career. He has a total of 4 catches in his career for 24 yards and 2 touchdowns. All right, and when you look at him as a passer for his career over there, he completed 63.8% of his passes. He threw for 10,283 yards, 92 touchdowns to only 23 interceptions. He had a passer rating of 164.2. So if you look at his college numbers only, you can see why a lot of guys in Washington were big on him, were calling for him to start earlier in the year. There was a big campaign for this boy to be the starting quarterback at multiple points during the year, especially when they didn't start well. So the coaching staff is infatuated with him as well, for what I hear. Like they really are high on him. He has the intangibles. He has the athleticism. The only question is he NFL ready? He was a 5th round pick for a reason. He did not play in a very tough conference. You know what I'm saying? He did not win a lot of games in college as a starting quarterback. But he does have 37 career starts in college. He did throw for 10,000 yards. He is a mobile guy that will make plays. So he's a guy that has the skill set to be successful in the modern NFL. But he's a guy that still needs time. I don't think he's at the point of his development yet where he can truly go on the field and be somebody that we have to that can go out there and just beat the Dallas Cowboys by himself. You know what I mean? Like he'll still need this running game to be on point. He'll still need to be involved in the running game. They'll have to play a complete game to beat us. Yeah, we're gonna terrorize them. Landlord, what's good with you, man? I appreciate you for tapping in with me, Kinfolk. Thank you, Kinfolk. Thank you. So yeah, man. So I think we'll get this game under control. Like I do like some of the things about him, but I do expect a rookie quarterback in his first game to make rookie mistakes. Like there's a bunch of coverages that Dan Quinn like throwing out against younger guys. Like he'll sometimes Dan Quinn will show man, even will motion the guy across the field with you, and then once the ball is snapped, it's actually zone. Things like that is going to mess him up. He like Dan Quinn going up against a defensive mind like him. I expect Sam Howell to throw at least two interceptions this game. Just because I think there's some coverages we can throw at him that he's never seen. You know what I mean? There are pressure packages we could bring that he's not going to be able to get his line lined up for them to pick up. I don't think he has the nuance just yet to go out here and orchestrate enough scoring drives to stop us. Honestly, if I'm being real with you, I think we can go out there with Cooper Rush if need be and win this game still. It'll probably be a little bit closer. But, just with the amount of mistakes I am expecting from Sam Howell as a, untested rookie against against the best turnover team in football, I don't see how he matches up. However, I'm going to go ahead and look at this injury report now. We're speaking on the Washington Condoms, but I have no idea who's even going to be playing for them. So let's take a look at the injury report. We'll have a better picture, once we see who is playing or who has a chance of playing. Okay, and they are littered with injuries. Jesus. All right. So let's take a look. Jonathan Allen, one of the defensive tackles, who was a stud, did not practice for the second time in a row with a knee injury. Sadiq Charles, who is a guard, has a concussion. He also has two, did not practice. Carmen Curl, a safety, has an ankle, did not practice for 2 days straight. Jamin Davis, who is a linebacker I like a lot, did not practice for 2 days in a row with a knee injury. Nate Gary, I think he'll be all right. He had an illness. He did not practice Wednesday, but he was not on the report today. Antonio Gibson, a running back. I think, matter of fact, he was one of Tony Pollard's classmates. They were shared the backfield at one point. He has a knee and a foot. He did not practice for 2 consecutive days. I do not think that he plays. Cornelius Lucas, an offensive tackle, ankle, 2 days of not practicing. Andrew Norwell, guard, a hip, 2 days of not practicing. Jesus. Brian Robinson, the running back I just talked about, has a knee, did not practice for 2 days straight. Jesus. James Smith-Williams, defensive end, concussion, did not practice. Benjamin St. Juste, one of their starting corners, did not practice 2 days straight with an ankle. Montez Sweat had an illness. I think he'll play. Okay, so they have a ton of people on this injury report. End of the season with nothing really to play for. Everybody I named outside of the guys that had an illness, I don't think are going to play. The guys with knees, the guys with concussions, I don't expect them to suit up or be ready to play. So, it is what it is. Like, they'll get the best guys they can available. But, this changes a lot. If they don't have their 2 starting running backs, Gibson and Brian Robinson, I don't know what they can do to make the game competitive. Because if both of these guys are missing, that is the largest section of their offense. So, to generate some rushing offense, they're going to have to run Sam Howell. They're going to have to run the boy. Because the only way to attack the Dallas Cowboys, they don't want this young guy dropping back against this pass defense that we have, which is one of the best in football. They'll have to find a way to generate some rushing offense. So, he's a guy that can run the RPO. He's a guy that can run the option. He's a guy that when it breaks down, he can get out of the pocket and make plays. And listen, the Dallas Cowboys once made Sam Darnold look like Michael Vick in a regular season game. He rushed for 2 rushing touchdowns against us. He had his way. Luckily, he started turning the ball over crazy. But Dallas, I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the style of defense we play. We like getting downhill, trying to rush upfield, run past the quarterback, and get to the passer. But we make a lot of mobile quarterbacks look good with our attacking style of defense, because usually we're in the cover one when we're healthy. Once our pass rush gets upfield, nobody's looking at the quarterback. They got their back turned. They're up. They're up the field getting 5, 10, 15 yards. So yeah, so there's something to watch for. But I still do believe the Dallas Cowboys will come out on top. My game plan would be, like I said, run the ball. Like Ezekiel Elliott needs 130-something yards to reach 1,000 yards. Tony Pollard only needs 12 to get to 1,000 himself. Let's see if we can get the boys up there. Because listen, Ezekiel Elliott doesn't really need rest. He needs to be in rhythm going to the playoffs. I would try for Zeke. He may not get it, but I would try for Zeke to get to 1,000 yards. I would try for Tony Pollard to get to 1,000 yards, because that is the way that we have to attack this team. I don't want us to go out there and throw the ball 40 times, 35 times, 39 times. I want us to run the ball 35 to 40 times, pass the ball 30 times at bare minimum. At the max, really. I want 30 pass attempts. But I want us to run the ball 35 to 40 times to take advantage of what this team is weak against. And once we do that, all our passes can be efficient. We can play action, go over the top, go deep over the middle, get the tight ends, blocking and releasing. We can give Dak Prescott some nice, easy throws to make, get him in a nice rhythm going to the playoffs. Let him go out here throw this one passing touchdown to pass Troy Aikman, and we'll be fine. But this ain't a game I want to see a ton from my wide receivers. I need my running backs to be ready, and I want to come out of this game relatively healthy. I know what I'm saying, especially with the way that our pass pro has been most of the year. Most of the year we've been 32nd or 31st in pass blocking win percentage. So I do not want us to drop back against a team that can sack the quarterback, a team that can get their hands on the ball 40 times. That is not smart football. So the best thing to do to protect our quarterback going to the postseason is to run the ball, build a lead, and get out of here with the win. So do y'all have any questions in the comment box? I see we have 5 people tuning in. I appreciate y'all for tapping in. Like, share, subscribe. Like I said, we're trying to grow the page. Once we get to 1,000, we'll be monetized. So we can start investing more into the channel. So I need y'all help with that. So like, share, subscribe. We're gonna build this up. But this is usually the time in the show where I let people ask questions in the comment box and we can communicate back and forth. So what do y'all want to talk about? How do y'all feel, about this game? Is there any particular player on the Washington Commanders that worries you? Any particular matchup you're looking at? Any particular player from our team that you want to scout? Because I tell you what, I know this is not a great passing team, and that is why I'm gonna have my eyes on Nahshon Wright. I want Nahshon Wright, under the circumstances, to have one of his better games of the season. I don't want him to give up 100 yards against a rookie quarterback. I don't want him to give up multiple touchdowns, anything like that, against a rookie quarterback. I need Nahshon Wright to have some confidence going into the playoffs as well. He just got into that position. He has not played a lot of NFL football. He's young, but it is what it is. He's next man up, and he's filled in damn good. He has played admirably up to this point. But who is a player y'all got your eyes on this game? Who are y'all scouting? Who y'all want to see play a good game? Just talk to me. Like I said, my guy is Nahshon Wright. Especially going into this playoffs against these veteran quarterbacks, the possibility of playing Tom Brady, the possibility of playing Aaron Rodgers, and hell, even with the way Jalen Hurts playing right now. Jalen Tolbert, you are damn right. Yes, Jalen Tolbert is a guy that I hope he plays. I hope he's not a healthy scratch or anything. Like you said, we have nothing really to lose in this game because mathematically, odds are we're going to play Tampa Bay. What happens? Even if we win this game, there's a good chance now that they're reporting that the Giants probably rest players opposed to what he initially said. There's a good chance that the Eagles might win that game. So Jalen Tolbert, who was a guy that was a top 100 pick, his rookie year really has been down the drain because he has not had a lot of opportunities. So I wouldn't mind him playing. See what we got in him. Because you look at his college film, he is a guy that can stretch the film. He is a guy who can get separation on his own. He's not the best route runner, but he finds ways to get open. I know against coverages. So I like Jalen Tolbert. I like the element that he potentially can bring. I'm gonna say potentially because I haven't seen it at the NFL level, but I do want him to get a fair shot. I do want him to come out here in the game where some of these veteran guys ahead of him don't need to play a bunch of snaps. I do want him to go out here with Dak Prescott and build some kind of rapport. What I really want him to get at least one touchdown. He doesn't have to be out there the entire time. But we get down to the red zone. I want Jalen Tolbert in, and I want to play designed for him to get a touchdown. Just get the monkey off his back. Let him do something positive this year that he can build on and carry over to the next season. Or worst case scenario, let something positive happen to the boy that we can carry into the playoffs and we need to call upon him. Like anything can happen in these games. There's no guarantee all our guys stay healthy. And if that's the case, I want Jalen Tolbert ready to go. I want Jalen Tolbert comfortable going out there and making a play for us. I would hate, Jalen Tolbert's first meaningful snaps of the season being in a must gotta have a playoff game. You know what I mean? I would hate for that to be the scenario where he's called upon. I'd rather him have something to build on, even if it's a gimme, even if it's a little 1 yard flip touchdown on the screen or whatever. Get him something. Get him something to build his confidence, because we might need him going down the line. Richard Evans, hey, I appreciate you for tapping in with us, man. I appreciate it, brother. So yeah, what about y'all, man? I want to see Nation. West Coast said he want to see Jalen Tolbert. Who's another player that y'all interested in seeing? And it doesn't even have to be somebody from the Dallas Cowboys. It could be somebody that concerns you that plays for Washington. You know what I'm saying? Because I touched on what McLaurin can do, as an overall receiver. Now, usually Trayvon Diggs checks him and has him under control. But with our secondary right now, unless Trayvon Diggs is going to travel with him, he's going to have some favorable matchups. He can go to Nation. He can go to the right side, and that's a very favorable matchup. Against a Pro Bowl receiver against a young cornerback. Even with a guy like Darren Bland, he can line up in the slot. He's a very quick guy. He has sub 4.3 speed. So like the other two corners are susceptible to a guy like that. Now, I don't know how they'll play it. I don't know if they'll move him around to get the mixed matches they want. I don't even know if they're going to try to throw the ball that much, given who's going to be out there throwing the ball. But that is a wrinkle in this Washington attack I am looking into. Well, that's a good thing if Wright gets reps against McLaurin before the playoffs. Baptism by fire, man. Baptism by fire. If Nation Wright is the guy we hope him to be, you know what I'm saying? Like, even if he loses this particular matchup against McLaurin, a good cornerback has to have a short memory. So, like, he'll get reps against a guy that gets all pro consideration. He'll get reps against a guy that, usually gets 1,100 yards in a season. So, like, that wouldn't be, I don't guess that would be a bad thing. If it costs us the game and the Eagles happen to lose, that would be a horrible thing, though. But, we'll see. We'll see. I really just want Nation Wright to go out there and be productive. Like, and they don't get me wrong, like, they do have some good receivers. They just don't have a quarterback, man. That other receiver they got, Jahan Dotson, that boy cold. He's a great receiver that has had subpar quarterback play for a majority of the year. But it is what it is, though. I'm glad that it shaped up like that. I'm glad that it shaped up like that. I don't need us having having two monsters to go up against. So, hopefully that Sam Howell is a guy that won't be able to get them the ball consistently. You know what I mean? Because Jahan Dotson is a real good supplementary receiver. He has 7 receiving touchdowns on the year. He doesn't have a bunch of yards, but he is a guy that has been finding his way into the end zone. He is a guy that does have a 100-yard game on the season. So he is a guy to watch. So even if Nation doesn't end up playing a bunch of snaps against McLaurin, Jahan Dotson is a guy that has been playing pretty well outside of injury. He is a former first-round pick out of Penn State. So I would like to see that matchup, because if he can hold Jahan, who is emerging as a damn good 2, I feel comfortable with him going into the playoffs, because that's going to be his job. He's not going to be checking the best receiver on the field. Hopefully, he'll be checking a 2 or 3 depending on the package we're running out in. So I think Nation Wright is gonna show improve, man. So he's a guy that has the athleticism and the size I believe Nation Wright is a 6'4" corner, has the length. You saw that length on full display actually when he got that interception the last game. That really wasn't a play made by him being in perfect coverage, but he was able to elevate and get the ball. They thought they would be able to get over his head, but he's 6'4", long arms, long wingspan. He was able to get his hand on the ball. So that's the kind of stuff that he could bring to the table. Absolutely. So Wright going to have his hands full. He needs them reps against solid receivers. Got to make them better. That's true. You can only do so much in practice. You can only get so many reps in practice. There's nothing like live game reps. Going up against solid receivers, especially solid receivers that play for a divisional rival. These are two guys that he's going to see for years to come. If he is able to keep this job, Nation, you're going to play these guys a lot. So, it's going to be good for you and your career going forward. If you can come out here, especially if you make a run in the playoffs, if you hold up in the playoffs or you hold up this game, Nation, you'll have a good case to keep that number 2 position. But think about it. Anthony Brown, he'll be back sometime next year, but he's not going to be ready to start the season. He won't be close to starting the season. Anthony Brown won't. So Nation Wright, if you play your cards right, if you go out there and produce, you're going to have a job next year. You're going to be a starter. You will be a starting corner in the NFL next year, coming into the season, if you do your job right. And you know how cheap the Dallas Cowboys are. If Nation Wright looks serviceable at all, he's going to get that job. So Nation, this can be a big thing for your career. If you come out here and play good, get your hand on a couple balls, even if you don't intercept it, you got some good pass deflections, and you stop some touchdowns. You make enough plays. If we are able to go on a playoff run, when we go on this playoff run, I should say, then you will solidify yourself as number 2 corner for the Dallas Cowboys. So he has something to play for. So I'm actually glad that we touched on this because he really could be that guy for them going forward. Not to say that Anthony Brown, if he's fully healthy, won't get his job back, because I think he probably would. But an Achilles injury is going to take time. Achilles injury is an injury I don't think he's going to just pop right back from. So we're going to need Wright to have these reps, these developmental reps going forward if we want to do anything this postseason or next year. So very, very valid points that y'all bring up there. So let's see. So we touched on that. Who else do we really need to worry about from the Commanders? Nobody. Good. Listen, hey, we already said that even bad teams have good things they do well, but they have a lot of things that they don't do well, man. I can't gloss over that like this is going to be some kind of some kind of slugfish. Do you think he'd be number 2 corner over Bland, or will Bland stay in the slot? This is assuming Brown doesn't start the season. I think, man, I would leave Bland in the slot because he played in the slot so well. You know what I mean? Like, it is hard to find an elite level slot corner. It's harder to find an elite level slot corner than it is a boundary guy, because you are really up by yourself in the slot. You're not going to get a lot of help. You don't have sideline help. It's you really can't double team somebody in the slot. So you're on an island by yourself in the slot. So like, for a guy like him to get 5 interceptions from mainly the slot position, that's very telling about his talent level. So, I would take my chances leaving him in the slot and finding somebody else to play the other boundary corner. Because like what he brings to the table as a slot corner, you don't really see that around the league like that. Just being honest, there are not a ton of high level slot corners. Like the Ron Bland might be like, I can't say this for sure without going looking at the raw numbers, but I believe the Ron Bland might be one of the best slot corners in football right now, just based off the pass breakups, based off the tackles, based off the interceptions. And if not one of the best, at least for this year, he's playing like one of the better slot corners. Like I can't even name another slot corner that has 5 interceptions. So yeah, I think I would take my chances. And like just because a guy plays well in the slot does not mean he can play well on the outside either. Because it's totally different techniques. You know what I'm saying? It's also going to rely on his comfort level. There are some guys that can move into the slot. There are some guys that can play, all corner positions. But it's different. Playing left corner is different than playing right corner, and it's damn sure different than playing slot. So he's most comfortable in the slot right now. He's making plays in the slot. I would leave him in the slot. There's nothing wrong with that. And we have options at the outside corner. Dan Quinn finally got his big outside corner that he likes. Because you remember, Dan Quinn liked Richard Sherman. He was a staple in his cover 3 defense in Seattle. He likes these long athletic corners. Like you don't really have to have great foot speed in Dan Quinn's system. Because he likes playing cover 3, he likes playing cover 1, but when he plays cover 1, he always has a robber. So if he thinks the matchup is too much for you, he might send the robber or the safety over there for you, depending on what the route combination or the receiver setup is. So I think Nahshon Wright can blossom, in there because he has the physical tools that Dan Quinn likes in that system. Now, if Dan Quinn leaves next year, starting the season, I might feel a different way. But right now, just assuming Dan Quinn is back, which I don't think he will, but just assuming that we have the defensive system that we have now, I think Nahshon Wright, suits it very well because he got all the measurables that Dan Quinn looks for in cornerbacks. Remember, the reason we didn't draft Asante Samuel Jr. was because of Dan Quinn's height requirements. That's why we ended up with Kelvin Joseph. So Quinn likes these long athletic corners. So we'll see. But yeah, he fits the mold the way he likes. So I think like DaRon Bland is going to hold down that slot. Nahshon Wright, if he proves himself, going to be the outside corner. But we brought in so many guys to play outside corner. I would have at least a couple of them activated. Because if Nahshon Wright is having issues like Kelvin Joseph is, bench him. Bring in one of these veteran guys. But I'm under the mind state, man, you can't have 3 elite cornerbacks any damn way. Like you can't have 3 all-pros. We got 1 all-pro on our back end. We got a very good slot corner that's playing at a high level. If he started the entire year, he probably would have won Defensive Rookie of the Year. So, I'm okay with having 1 cornerback that isn't on their level. And that's fine because he can do enough to help us out in coverage. Besides, the way that we lose games is never generally but the quarterback throwing for a bunch of yards against us, at least not from a drop back perspective. When we lose games, teams are running the ball 200 plus yards against us, 160 plus yards against us. The quarterbacks have easy throws because they're barely throwing the ball. They're utilizing play action. They're getting leads and sitting on leads because sometimes we get these offensive slumps. So they're shortening the game, blase. That's usually how we lose. But just a quarterback dropping back and going crazy on us now. They don't beat us like that. Even these quarterbacks that on paper had good games against us, look what the running game did to supplement them. The Packers game against Aaron Rodgers. They ran for 200 plus yards. All 3 of his passing touchdowns came on play action. You know what I'm saying? So it's really the run game to play action that gets us. You look at a guy like Trevor Lawrence, he had a pretty decent game against us. But they ran the ball for almost 200 yards. Those chuck plays he got would come off of play action. So if we are able to get back to become we can become a better run-stopping team, these chunk plays ain't going to happen too often. So, I trust my pass defense. You have way too many pass rushers. You have an all-pro corner. You got 2 safeties playing that should get all-pro recognition. They probably won't because they don't have the big names. But you got good safeties. You got two good corners. Nation Wright is serviceable. So my pass defense is the last thing I'd be concerned about going into these games. Which like we will have to figure out a way to be more competitive. Run stopping. When Hankins is back, if you look statistically, we're much better run defense. When LVE is back, we'll be a much better run defense. But we still will only be a middle of the pack run defense. So we'll have to find a way to win the first and second down and get these guys to obvious passing situations to win games. But I don't think that Nation Wright or any of the other guys will be the deciding factor in if we win or lose games. So let's see. Any other questions, man? We having the roll, we having the ball. I appreciate y'all for tapping in, spending some of your evening with me while I ramble on about these Dallas Cowboys. So let's see. Anybody got anything else they want to ask? Any further questions? So we still in here rolling, man. We're still in here rolling. Up to 6. I appreciate y'all. Like, share the content, subscribe. We're going in. We're going in, man. We're gonna talk about these damn Cowboys and what we're gonna do to the Commanders, the Condoms, whatever they is. So let's see. Put your questions and stuff in the comment box. Like I said, this is the part of the show. It's all for y'all. I usually go through a 30-minute spiel about what I want to talk about. We're going to take another 30, 40 minutes to talk about what y'all want to talk about. You know what I'm saying? Like, ain't nothing too stressful. Just little football talk on a Thursday evening. So let's see. Questions. Let's say y'all don't have any further questions, man. I'm gonna be back live a little bit later on tonight. I'm gonna tap in with the OG West Coast. We're gonna have a late night. Hold on. What do you think Quinn will do about the run defense? We've been better over the last 2 games under 100 yards given up. Man, there's not much we can do about the run defense. You know what I'm saying? Like maybe putting out more bear fronts on early downs. When I mean bear fronts, like bigger packages, five down linemen, things like that. But you'll be so susceptible on the back end. An early play action attempt might gash you. So like you really don't want to come out and just sell your soul to stop the run on early downs either. Because a smart OC will take advantage of that as well. But we will have to find a way to be better, on first and second down. But my thought process about it is we don't really have the horses out there to run that kind of race. You know what I'm saying? Like we don't have a lot of personnel that is great against the run. You got Hankins, who might be your best run stopping defensive tackle. Bohannon is decent, but he doesn't give you the presence you expect for a guy that's there 400 pounds. You know what I'm saying? Like LVE, when he does play downhill, he gets injured a lot because of his neck issues and his stinger issues. So man, we don't really have the personnel to go out here and stop the run. Because when you look at a guy like Osa and Neville Gallimore, them guys, they excel in pass defense. They can push the pocket. They can apply pressure. They can get to the quarterback. But, they're not really great run stoppers either. So when you think about it, man, like us stopping the run was something that we should have tried to address in the offseason and before the trade deadline. Because when you look at the personnel that we have, we don't have the horses to run that race. And say we can do everything in our power. But you know what? I will say this though. If we run the ball on teams and we build a big enough lead, we'll get teams to stop running the ball against us. Especially in a playoff atmosphere where the pressure is magnified. Like I don't think a lot of teams are going to stick with the run if you get a 14, 17 point lead on them when it's getting late in the game. You know what I mean? So the best way to protect your defense is to put them in situations where they don't have to defend the run. That would be my go-to. win the time of possession, score, build a lead, shorten the game, make it to where them running the ball will be, the least effective way to move the ball against you. So if you're up 17 in the late third quarter, I don't think they're gonna try to run the ball too much to try to get down the field. They're gonna be looking for chunk plays. The clock becomes a factor. They're gonna have to press. That's when we shine. These turnovers come when they're trying to pass the ball against us. So that would be the best way to improve our run defense by not making them actually have to guard the run. Do what you need to do from an offensive side of the ball. Play complementary football. Help them out so they don't have to defend that many possessions. And if they don't have to defend that many possessions, they're not gonna give up 200 yards rushing. You know what I'm saying? The other team won't have time to run for 200 yards if you have the ball running for 200 yards. You feel me? So if you want to stop a bully, you bully their ass. So out bully the bully. That's what we're gonna have to do for run defense. Run it down their throats, shorten the game, make it impossible for them to run against us. That's the best thing to do. But yeah, man, I appreciate y'all though for tapping in with me. So I will be live. I just want to come in and give y'all about an hour worth of content. I think I've been on here about 50 plus minutes at this point, 51 minutes. So that's close. So I'm gonna be going live later on tonight. I'll probably be on with West Coast. We'll go over some of the things about the game. I'll bring the analytics to it, whatnot. So just be tuned in. I appreciate y'all for y'all time. Again, we're trying to build up to get to 1,000 subscribers. So it would be greatly appreciated if you like, share, and subscribe the content. I think about putting something together, to show my appreciation for y'all too. We are able to get up to these 1,000 subscribers. But I will announce that at a later date. So hey, I'll see y'all later on tonight. We're probably going to be doing Can't Sleep Cowboy tonight. So just tap in. I appreciate y'all, and I'm out.